Hi pals, it's me, Artie, they're them pronouns only. I desperately need a haircut and to redye my roots, but here we are, because things have been hectic. So I haven't released any kind of like personal medical experience video in a little while, because I just did not have the capacity. Hence the t-shirt. Why don't you just give up? A couple of things that I will be talking about one in this video and in a video coming up are just things that have just been kind of ridiculous and are unnecessarily difficult for no reason. So today's video is talking about the hell that is trying to get your fucking repeat prescriptions, even when you've been on them for literally years. So I'll go through the story chronologically about what happened to me recently. So I needed just the usual repeat prescription for a couple of my controlled medications, my pregabalin and my ADHD medications. I realised I was a little bit overdue with my ADHD meds, but because I don't always take 2 pills every day, I had a bit of leeway, so I wasn't too concerned. However, I do take my 2 pregabalin a day because I have found the withdrawals can be pretty gnarly, to be honest. And I've not had any issues with ordering repeat prescriptions for like a really long time. So my order history on my Pharmacy to You account, I basically said that I last ordered on June 7th and that I really couldn't order until like July 7th, which was a Sunday. I put in for a repeat, I think on the Thursday, but it might have been the Wednesday, with a note that said that I was putting in this order a little bit early because of my reorder date was on like the weekend, so I wanted to avoid delays. One of my biggest issues that I've had with medications generally is being able to remember when exactly I need to order each medication. I'm on so many meds that are also provided in different amounts, are refilled at different points of the month, so it's a lot of things to keep on top of. So I thought that this system of telling me when I last put an order in was helpful to tell me when I needed to put an order in, but I think actually it was because it's just the date I ordered and not like it's near the 28 days, because you only get 28 days. You don't get a month, you get 4 weeks. But I think a mixture of the system that was set up is a little bit misguiding in a way, because I'm not sure how you would remember 28 days from the last date that you ordered. And even then, is that from the last day you ordered, or is it from 7 days after that date? Anyway, so like they have that system that I thought was helpful, but actually I think is not very helpful for me personally. And so yeah, I put in thinking, because at this point I don't even know anymore. I'm pretty sure I put in the order early, but maybe because the system says the date rather than keeping track of the 28-day cycle, that it was confusing and didn't really make sense. I wanted to avoid delays, and either way, like I said, my usual experience with ordering my medications, restricted or not, controlled or not rather, has always, like for the most part, it's been quite rare to have any issues, but for the most part I will get my meds by the middle of like the next week if I order on like a Thursday and the prescription's confirmed on a Friday, and that's including postage. I was also just asked generally by my GP practice to fill in a medication review form. I don't know if this was specifically linked to me requesting this medication or if it was just timing. So I did fill that in, but it did also take a little bit longer because I had to do a blood pressure reading, and that takes a bit more time really than just typing in answers to a form. Especially when you're trying to get a more accurate result, you're supposed to sit for 5 minutes calmly. And if you are new here, I don't know what calm is. But like I did the form, it was fine. The prescription was still put through on the Friday as it usually is. Knees weak, knees are sweaty, I'm sweaty. It's sweaty here, I'm sweaty. Mom spaghetti, I'm sweaty. So yeah, the GP sent the prescription on Friday the 5th, to pharmacy to you, and I thought it was all going to be fine because, like I said, most of my medications are done, dispatched and arrived by like Wednesday or Thursday the next week. It usually doesn't take longer than that, regardless of what kind of medication it is. And yeah, it got to Wednesday, Thursday of that week, and I was sort of like, where's my meds? And I was looking at my pharmacy to you profile, and it still said that it wasn't dispatched. So I contacted pharmacy to you. It then changed to dispatched before someone got back to me. Then when someone did reply, they said it shows as dispatched, and I had to explain that that's only happened between me emailing you and now. They've only just dispatched it, babes. And I also had to explain, like, however, due to that delay, I was going to run out of my medications. And I explained that that is really dangerous, particularly with pregabalin, but also there's a lot of reasons why that can be dangerous for ADHD as well. But my own personal experience is that I was more concerned about coming off of pregabalin cold turkey, because that's happened to me before in like September of 2021, and it was horrible. I don't want to do that again, and they really should have something in place to make urgent medications be delivered on time or delivered faster or whatever. A way of explaining automatically just on the profile or something that if there are delays for some reason, because nobody contacted me, because I guess it wasn't considered a big delay for them. You know, like obviously pretty much every medication can be a life-saving medication, but there must be quite a lot that aren't, or you know, aren't as concerning if you miss a dose. I just feel like there should be something in place there to prevent people from running out of those really important medications.
This was just like a thought I had and a point I'd made originally in this whole process. Obviously, having to think more about it in detail, it does fall apart, but I wanted to include it that I was concerned for my well-being, and I am concerned for other people's well-being, and I think I do address this point a bit later on, that there should be something generally in place, or like a few things in place for like that everyone takes responsibility for, not just pharmacies, not just patients, to prevent this kind of issue from happening, because it is dangerous, and there's honestly probably very few medications that people can, you know, manage without for a day or so or whatever.
I had also found in the week part of an old prescription of my pregabalin. Before I'd upped to the 50 milligrams, I found maybe a couple of days worth of 25 milligrams so that I could combine them in to make them 50 milligrams for a few days. But even with those extra doses that I found, because like they were literally just downside of the couch, I don't know how I lost them down there, but I lose a lot of things downside of the couch at the moment. So, but like even with those extra couple of days, I still was going to end up not able to take my pregabalin for like possibly a few days. Yeah, it wasn't enough to get me to the supposed delivery day, and I was also going to be away that weekend when the delivery was going to be made, so I was a bit fucked really. So I got to Friday where I didn't really feel like my prescription would arrive in time, as I was not going to be home over the weekend and would run out. I looked through all of my bags, as quite often I'll leave like a couple of doses of my ADHD meds and my pregabalin in like a couple of my different bags I use regularly, because I usually need to take one or both of those doses of medications when I'm out, if I'm seeing friends, if I'm at an appointment, etc. So I find it a bit easier to at least have some kind of pre-prepared a few extra doses just in my bag, so I don't have to remember to put them in the bag every single time I go out. Even looking through the bags, I didn't have enough doses to reach the next week by the time I would have been back at the house. I spoke to a friend's mum who is a pharmacist, but the pharmacy was a little bit far away from where I was going to be on that Friday afternoon. So my mum called the GP practice on my behalf. They were shocked that it hadn't arrived, as they sent it off the previous Friday. We asked if they could sort like just a few days, like just literally just bridging a bridging prescription basically, so I could make it to Monday from Friday without running out of any of my medications. And they said probably, but they'd have to see, and they asked where we wanted the prescription to be sent. My mum did say which pharmacy we usually go to, but she did also say that she could come and collect the prescription, or one of us could come and collect the prescription slip if that was easier, and they said no, it'd be fine, it would just be sent to the right pharmacy, etc. Later that afternoon, I went to the pharmacy that we told them to send it to, and they said they had not been sent the prescription. So we called the GP again, who said it had somehow been sent to pharmacy to you again. So you mean the emergency prescription I need of my controlled drugs because of pharmacy to you delays has been sent to pharmacy to you? And they wouldn't do anything, the GP practice. We had to do the rest of it. They told us to contact pharmacy to you to send the prescription back so that we could then take it to take a coach to an in-person pharmacy. They couldn't even be fucking asked to just deal with that, seeing as that was their fuck up. And like, that's one of the things that really enrages me about this whole process, is like, why the fuck do I have to do all that work when you fucked it up? This has happened more than once over the years as well, where they just kind of auto fill it in and just send it off to the nominated pharmacy, even if it's like an emergency or can't be delivered, etc. Like, they just send it to your nominated pharmacy, even if there's been like a note put in, or you've specifically said, I need the physical prescription to go pick it up, etc. Yeah, really frustrating when doctors can't read. And it's the same GP that I have not been enjoying being involved in my care, so he's not helping. He's not helping. The fact that I dislike him, he just makes it worse because he keeps doing this sort of shit. So yeah, I had an email from pharmacy to you that my prescription had been accepted, and I emailed the person that I'd been in contact with already previously, and I literally said, some idiot sent the prescription to you again, and now I need you to cancel it so I can go get it. We did also ring them, but it took ages to find a phone number for pharmacy to you. But also, it was a robot. It was not a person on the phone. There were no humans available either to speak to us on the phone, and they hung up after telling us the order has supposedly been cancelled. So my mum did go and pick up the medication. However, we had to use Boots, our usual pharmacy we like to use. Apparently cannot get any of my ADHD medications. They just can't get any ADHD meds at the moment as well, which is sick, because they were like the only place that could get them. And that's where I was always getting them before I could get them delivered. The only medications they could give us was the pregabalin, which was good. At least I wasn't going to be dealing with withdrawals. It wasn't great, because I then definitely had to ration my ADHD meds and I could only take one a day. And then yeah, like I said earlier on, why does their like website go by month and not like the 4-week thing that prescriptions actually go by? Because maybe, like I said, that was half the reason. Some dates were off, or the prescription wasn't done like in time. But in the end, I ended up with a full prescription of pregabalin and ADHD medication from my emergency prescription. And then my full prescription also arrived from pharmacy to you. That's for restricted meds, controlled meds. It just makes no fucking sense. I also made a list going through the issues you have to deal with when you're on restricted/controlled meds in the UK. One is you can't order early unless you have a good reason, even a couple of days early, because lots of people are just like blocked from doing so. Two, a lot of controlled meds cause awful withdrawal symptoms, especially if you stop them suddenly. So why is there no leeway for like even a few days? Like, why is it so strict? Three, it's not always easy or obvious who you can even go to for emergency repeat prescriptions, particularly for controlled substances. A lot of people I know call 111. Sometimes you can go to a pharmacy or like a clinic. Like I said, we rang the GP. We didn't really know where to go for this, as we've not really had this problem before, and we were only requesting like literally a couple of days of like bridging meds until mine arrived. For the reason people might choose a delivery method is often down to like ease of access to physical pharmacies or the issue is in like literally accessing some of these controlled medications, particularly like ADHD meds at the moment. A lot of people have been struggling in the UK accessing different kinds, and it kind of seems to vary which specific kind of drug people are having problems with, including HRT as well. I know a lot of particularly women going through menopause, trans people have had a lot of issues accessing their HRT before the government started doing stupid government things. But like when it was just Lloyds Direct, I did have to go and pick up my ADHD prescriptions from physical pharmacies. 5 as well, if a pharmacy that's entirely delivery based cannot get a medication out to you within a week of the prescription being written and sent to them, they are just not doing their job. I understand there are like reasons for delays or things just like taking a bit of time, but when your service is medications, which includes delivering restricted meds like pregabalin, like ADHD medications, and many others, you know that people can't order them early, so you need to be able to provide the service in a timely manner. However, I do have a further point on that I will go into in a minute, which pisses me off even more. Number 6, you can only have 1 month of controlled medications prescribed at a time. So you have to go through this every single month. And like I said, there's no leeway, and most places only allow you to order them at day 21. Since all of that happened, I've ordered a few meds like still through them, and they've all been dispatched literally days earlier than this situation. They've been delivered to me literally Monday, Tuesday, with all the same ordering times from me.
Lol, it has now been a month since this whole situation happened, so I've had to order my repeats for my ADHD and pregabalin meds, and I had a notification today to say that they're having a stock issue with my pregabalin, so looks like I'm going to have to go and find a pharmacy that will be able to give me my ADHD meds, my propranolol, and my pregabalin. So wish me luck this week finding somewhere that will give me my fucking meds.
So why did my controlled medications take several days longer? I have clarified the danger and issue of this to pharmacy to you, and they have told me that they will be they were going to flag it as a clinical consequence. However, I heard back, and one of their pharmacists or whoever just said, just order earlier. And that's where I said I can't. They are controlled meds. And they said, well, we let people request anything up to 2 weeks before they need their medication. So if you aren't allowed, it will be your GP practice's choice. So I clarified with my practice what their repeat prescription policies are, and they confirmed that all repeats cannot be ordered until day 21 out of 28 days. Doesn't matter what kind of drug it is, all of them cannot be ordered until then. I also looked vigorously, spoke to people I know, couldn't find anything online about a national policy about this, about when patients are allowed to order things. But it seems to be like a broadly spread rule in most places, in England at least, that most places will not let you order more than the 7-day window at the end of your prescription, which is unhelpful in so many ways. Not having like a national policy on this. One is that like no one is officially on the same page. Second is the issue of getting meds delivered does take a little bit longer, but now might be taking even longer, but you can't order meds earlier. And there's no policy to enforce and no way of punishing a service for failing their customers / patients. And that includes GP practices as well as these pharmacies. I also contacted the Patients Association about this as well, to see if they like have like any access or way of being able to gather this information a lot easier for me that maybe I can't find, so that they can clarify this and what can be done about it. They said to me the practice of not allowing repeat prescriptions to be requested earlier than 7 days before they run out is common, but it isn't an official national NHS policy. This guideline is often set by individual GP practices and pharmacies to manage stock and reduce the risk of medication misuse, particularly for controlled drugs. For controlled drugs, stricter regulations are in place due to their potential for abuse. The 7-day rule helps ensure that patients do not accumulate excess medication, which could lead to misuse or diversion. And I do understand parts of those points. I think for the most part, a lot of this misuse and abuse of medications has been quite vastly blown out of proportion, and I think is the wrong approach to the issue. The people who may have done that, whether on purpose or not, need help. They don't need to be penalised, and the rest of us also don't need to be penalised as well. I also think there's a lot of issues around there not being like a set of guidelines or rules around this, because it's kind of again left down to the patient to have to advocate for themselves, trying to sort out services that are meant to help them. You know, it's all down to the normal person who may not have time, energy, or ability to be looking into this shit, you know? And like I made like a very brief point that I'm rural. I don't have easy access to pharmacies. And like I've said to a couple of people since this has happened, is that, you know, if I didn't use a online delivery pharmacy, I would spend hours a week just trying to collect my medications, because the issues of leaving the house, as I've discussed in previous videos about leaving my home, is not that simple, especially as I share a car, and a lot of pharmacies have an extremely small opening window. A lot of pharmacies are not open past 5 p.m, which is not great in like a weekday, aren't open on Sundays, and usually close at around 1 p.m. on a Saturday. It's a little bit different for bigger pharmacies, like pharmacies in a Tesco or like a Boots pharmacy, who will be open probably longer hours, at least on a Saturday, but you're still then limited to certain pharmacies. A lot of pharmacies still cannot get medications for you, either because of like stocking issues, like I've talked about with this other like independent pharmacy, and generally pharmacies across the UK with ADHD medications and HRT, but also if the prescription doesn't say something specific. I've had this issue a few times over the years. One of them was literally yesterday from when I'm filming, and it's really annoying, but I had this when I was in uni as well, where I think at the time I was on, I can't pronounce this antihistamine, cetirizine, I think. I think there's a few different types. I think one's a capsule, one's a tablet. And I think because whatever fucking GP I had at the time when I was at university had put, I think, capsules, the Boots pharmacy round the corner from where I was couldn't fill the order because they don't get the capsules. And I was like, can you not just give me the other ones? No, because it says capsules on the prescription. So I can't remember what I did with that, because that was in probably somewhere between 2016 and 2018. I can't remember exactly, but sometime around then. So it's a while ago now. And yesterday, again, a Boots pharmacy could not fill my steroid prescription because my prescription slip did not specifically state gastro-resistant or something. I can't remember exactly the phrase, but it's a phrase that basically is saying that the type of tablet is better for your stomach because it protects your stomach. And I'm like, I'm on lansoprazole, so like I don't know. I don't think I've ever been given gastro-resistant or whatever the fuck steroids, like ever. Didn't know they existed, and they were like, we can't order these because we don't order the non-gastro-resistant ones, so you're gonna have to go somewhere else. And I was just like, so I then had to go to the Tesco, where they didn't have the full prescription, but they did have them. So I have to go back in the week to pick up the rest of it, which is fine. I'm not in a rush for this particular pill. However, the other medication on that prescription is my azathioprine, which I will be running out of soon. So, and if you've got more than one medication on a prescription slip, you have to find a pharmacy that can fill all of the prescriptions. You can't go to different pharmacies to get different things filled. You have to find one pharmacy that will fill all of them. And I'm sure plenty of people watching and just plenty of people in the world know what it's like trying to go to a pharmacy to pick up a prescription of any kind, where like for some reason they take a very long time to just pick up the prescription and give it to you. If there's any pharmacists out there, please explain why it takes so long for you to dish out drugs. I'm genuinely curious. I genuinely don't know what it is you do back there. But I would like to know why I'm waiting 20 minutes to an hour for my meds to just be put in a bag and given to me when you're like a metre away. So that, for me personally, combined with what I'd said earlier, that I have so many different meds that I'm given in different amounts. So my controlled meds are a month worth. Other meds are 2 months worth. Some of my hospital meds I'm given 3 months of, as well as my injections, which is a whole different system I have to navigate as well. And I even have some meds that I'm given 6 months worth in bulk. And I've got to try and keep track of all those. And I have to, if I was doing in person, I'd have to find days where I could drive into town, where I have the car for one, be able to drive into town where I don't have a million other things that I'm doing, have to hope that the pharmacies have the prescription, so I may be walking around or driving around to different pharmacies. That can take, I think my driving can take 10 to 20 minutes depending on where I would be going to collect them. Trying to find a pharmacy could possibly take an hour, who fucking knows. Actually getting the prescription, it requires, like I said, waiting 20 minutes to an hour. For some reason, they can take so long. And then you have to try and go home. So that's a lot of time out of my entire life if I didn't order online, because I am so rural, but also I'm on so many medications that it's just ridiculous. And I think a lot of our NHS practices are just not keeping up with the world, how things are different. I used to use a service that was amazing, that was the pharmacy attached to my GP practice. They had like an inbuilt delivery service. The delivery driver we had was incredible. He always made sure that my family always got our meds on time, because if he wasn't working, we would never fucking get them. And they are the reason why I ended up off of my pregabalin last time in 2021, cold turkey, whilst I wasn't even at home. And I didn't know what to do. This is the first time I've really tried the emergency medication route. I just don't think it was something I was really aware of in 2021. So more of what the patient association said to me was, they gave me some advice / suggestions. One of them is contacting the practice manager at the GP surgery to explain the situation in detail, emphasising my rural location and the need for timely access to medications, ask for their particular policy regarding the request for repeat prescriptions, and they might be able to provide a more tailored solution that suits your particular requirements much better. So again, more labour for the patient. The other suggestions are contact your pharmacy, ideally in writing, to discuss the issue with the pharmacy manager. If the problem persists, consider looking for another pharmacy that might have a more flexible approach that can, of course, deliver your prescriptions. Again, more labour for me. And then the last one is raising awareness. I knew I was going to make this video because of how fucking ridiculous this whole thing has been. But as well, their suggestions for this, I think, are quite good. Especially if more people would also maybe write these kind of emails, make these complaints. Maybe something could happen. Maybe we could get somewhere. But if you believe this is a widespread issue, because literally, unless they are literally from Scotland, Ireland, everyone else I personally know in the UK who gets repeat medications, it's always been like a known thing that you can't order until the last 7 days of your prescription. So if that's like the guide, or like the thing that everyone's doing in the UK, why is there not a proper policy in place? Because if that's what everyone's GP practice says, but the pharmacies say like something different, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Going crazy, that's what I'm doing. But they suggested consider contacting your local health watch, which I will do at some point. I just don't have the will at the moment. You can also give your feedback to the Care Quality Commission, the CQC, who regulate healthcare providers in England and are keen to learn about the patient's experience of healthcare. I think I already did that one. And I do that one quite a lot. I do that one quite a lot for like most services I experience now, is that I just send them some kind of like feedback. You can search the service that you're looking for to give feedback on. But yeah, I do that one a lot. So I will leave the link to them as well in particular in the bio. However, you can just like Google search who your local health watch is. I think they can be a lot more helpful than I realised, because they do like a few other different things as well, including helping with finding local services. However, the services I want don't exist. So yeah, that's kind of the end of the anecdote. Have you had problems accessing your medications in the UK? How did you handle it? What happened? Was there like a resolution made? Have you gone through any of these processes and worked out some kind of like tailored solution if you're also like a postage online pharmacy person? I have also been looking at other options, and there are like a few other options for like online delivery pharmacy things. One that I like the look of was Hey Pharmacist, because they actually supposedly have a reminder tool that actually reminds you when you need to be ordering your prescriptions. I don't know how it works, obviously, because I've not signed up, but it may be a better option for like, especially if my family move in the next few years, so I don't have to change my service, just the address, compared to like, you know, like a physical like in-person pharmacy that does delivery. They are a smaller provider as well compared to like Pharmacy to You, because Pharmacy to You basically bought Lloyds Direct, and that's how I got stuck with them, because I didn't want to go back to them. I used them at uni and they were okay at the time, but I didn't want to use their service again for like a few reasons. However, I had no choice because they literally ate Lloyds Direct. So, but yeah, like Hey Pharmacist is a smaller version of Pharmacy to You. I think they serve 50,000 people in the UK. So generally I'm always like, yeah, and let's support smaller businesses that aren't yet being eaten by the one service. Like, I feel like Pharmacy 2 is going to be the Amazon of pharmacy, like online delivery pharmacies, and I hate that. I've been looking for any kind of app or service that does a proper reminder for when to order your meds, and not just a like reminder app of when to take your meds. I need something that reminds me like when to order, like 8 or 9 days before I run out. So hopefully this service actually works properly that way, rather than the Pharmacy to You that's like, you last ordered on the 7th of last month. Or there is a new pharmacy that took over the local pharmacy that I mentioned that screwed me over. But they provide local delivery. I think they said for free as well. So like, the reasons why I don't know which one to go for is because my family plan to move. So I think it might be easier overall to stick with like an online delivery pharmacy, because at least then I wouldn't have to like change a bunch of stuff again if I'm outside of this other in-person pharmacy's like delivery range, because we're not really sure where exactly we're going to move to. We'd like to stay reasonably local because we know the doctors, we know the systems here, but also there's becoming less and less reasons to give a shit, which is sad, to be honest. But yeah, like, does anybody else have a provider that they recommend, that they like? Is there a particular chain of in-person pharmacies that you find have actually been good and helpful for you? Please share in the comments, because I'm at my wit's end. I'm at my wit's end. Like, I'm so done. I'm so over it. Ugh. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos, watch my other videos, because now that we've reached 1k, we are working on the watch time, because the watch time is ridiculous. 4,000 watch hours. I can't remember if that's a month or like for like 3 months. But yeah, so like just like play my videos in the background. You know, just play my videos in the background. So you're doing other things. Support small creators. Anyway, that's my video for this week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.